This is Jermaine reporting for the Pound for Pound Boxing Show. I'm joined alongside Caoimhin Agyarko. How you doing, champ?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Just finished training, so a bit tired, but yeah, I'm all good.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thanks for joining me today. Obviously, you talk about training. You just got me from training. Not long now to a fight week. You're going to be fighting next week on the Bois on the card. How's camp been for this fight?
Yeah, we're fighting next week. Training's went well. Can't complain. It's probably been my best camp to date. It's been a very long camp because we've had a couple of dates that got cancelled. So I've been in camp for about 12 weeks now. So I've left no stone unturned, and it's been the best camp to date, best shape I've ever been in, and I'm feeling good.
Great. Obviously, your opponent's not been announced yet. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. We're actually struggling at the moment to get an opponent. We'll get someone. It's one of them things. We've had a lot of people turn it down, and we thought we had a good German kid, but unfortunately he turned it down today as well. So it's a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sure you're just obviously just staying sharp, taking over till you get that phone call of an opponent coming through, and then you can actually then you better concentrate on the actual opponent and you know a bit more about him.
Yeah, that's it. You know what? It doesn't really matter to me because I'm used to fighting a lot of different kids in the amateurs and stuff like that. So I'm a fighter that will adopt on the night anyway. I don't really watch much of my opponents. So whoever it is, I'll be ready.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about your amateur experience. Obviously, you had over 130 fights. You won 6 national titles. You've won a senior national title as well, and you represented Ireland at a European and world level. Do you think, obviously, because you've got such a really good fast amateur experience, do you think that paves a good way for you in terms of when you're fighting heavyweight, or not heavyweight, fighting in professional ranks?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like my amateur background puts me ahead of certain fights that people would take in the early stages of professional career. Do you know what I mean? I had a very good amateur background and had a lot of experience. You know what I mean? I had about 150 amateur fights, boxed internationally since I was 14, right up until the end. So I've faced every style and world champions and Olympians and stuff like that. So I've in the amateurs I was in with the best. So and I had a good record. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily need to be fighting journeyman. If you look at my record, I think maybe you could say I fought 1 or 2 journeymen. I fought maybe 4 or 5 opponents with winning records. So I do think it puts me in good stead in my professional career and means I don't have to get them certain learning fights.
Yeah. So I want to talk a bit about how you got signed to Frank Warren and Queensberry Boxing. Obviously, I read an article about you went to watch a Carl Frampton fight. Frank invited you to a Carl Frampton fight in Belfast, and then from then you signed with Queensberry and Frank. Is that correct?
Yeah, I met up with my coach, Alan Smith. He was in Belfast for one of our old fighters, Johnny Coyle, was fighting in Belfast, and I met up with Alan. Decided that I was going to train with Alan. And then Al told Frank about me, said I was a good kid. They had a look at me, seen my WSB fight, and they said that they had heard about me, so they offered to come and meet me, and offered me to the Frampton fight, and it was a good experience, and just showed me what they're about and stuff like that. So that's how it come about.
Yeah. What's it like working, obviously having Frank as a legendary promoter, having him guide your career?
Yeah, it's unreal. Do you know what I mean? It's I feel like Frank will give me the best opportunities to get me to the world level. Do you know what I mean? It's unreal to have a promoter like Frank and BT Sport backing me. So I believe Frank will get me the right fights at the right time to bring me to world level.
Yeah. I want to talk a bit about your last fight. Obviously in 2020 now. Obviously you've been out of the ring for a while. Obviously you fought Robbie Chapman. Brilliant performance. You got him out there after a few runs. How did you rate your performance that night? And how happy was you with the win?
Do you know what? I took that fight on, I think it was 2 weeks to 10 days notice. So personally, I'd give myself a 3-4 out of 10 in that fight. Even though I didn't do much wrong, I felt like I could have been a lot busier in that fight. I started a bit quicker, but I knew that I didn't want to gas myself because of the short training camp. I listened to my corner. They said just up the intensity each round 5%, and you'll get him out of there sooner or later. Do you know what I mean? And that's what happened. But do you know what? Robbie's a tough guy, and he was only ever stopped once before that, so it was good to get him out of there, and it showed that going through the rounds that I can still carry power.
Yeah, it was a really good stoppage. Obviously, I know Robbie quite well. Tough kid. Obviously, he's durable, and the way you got him out there was, I think, was pretty good fashion.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like he showed that he had a decent chin. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people would have went down straight away with that shot. I do feel like he was on his way to going out if the referee would have let it go on. I think it was a great stoppage, but he's definitely a tough guy and a durable guy.
Yeah. I want to talk about good fighter, what former world champion he's fought recently, who he was sparring with leading up to his fight with Canelo, and that's Billy Joe Saunders. I want to ask you, obviously the fight got stopped because of the bad eye injury. Do you think that's a right call? And can you see Billy Joe coming back stronger from that defeat?
Yeah, definitely. Without doubt, it was the right call. Listen, as fighters, none of us wants to go out like that. I know Billy, and I know he wouldn't have quit or wanted to go out like that. He would have wanted to fight on, but his corner made the right decision and pulled him out. He lives to fight another day. I don't know if he'll come back. Not because of the loss, just it just depends how much desire and want he's got left. You know what I mean? Does he want to become a world champion again? 2-time super middleweight champion. He's already a 2-weight world champion. Fought in a unification fight against the pound for pound champ. It just depends. He's made a lot of money from boxing, and he doesn't really need to do boxing for money. Do you know what I mean? So it just depends if he wants to do it to achieve more things. But I'd like to see him come back. I think he's still got some big fights in him. So I'd definitely like to see him come back.
Yeah, likewise. I echo that. I'd love to see Billy come back. I still think he's got a lot to offer the sport, and I still believe there's going to be some pretty fantastic domestic fights as well out there for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. People would like to see the Chris Eubank fight again. I still feel like Billy Joe's world level, so there's a couple guys at world level that he can fight as well. So the Andrade fight, Charlo brothers, a couple other names as well. So he's definitely could still be in big fights.
Yeah. What's it like? Obviously, sparring with him. How valuable has that been for you in your career so far? Sparring with Billy Joe.
Yeah, definitely, it was unreal. I picked up so much and learned so much off Billy Joe. It was a great experience to be in there with him and do you know what I mean, really test myself and see where I'm at in my career. Do you know what I mean? It shows me that I've got what it takes to be at that level. Do you know what I mean? If world champions are asking for me to spar diamonds for the biggest fight of their career, do you know what I mean? I was meant to spar Callum Smith for the Canelo fight. Unfortunately, that fell through, but people consider me as a sparring partner or someone to get them ready for the biggest fights of their career. So it's definitely a great compliment to my style and me, and I feel like I learned so much off Billy, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, I want to ask you. Obviously, you're fighting in the middleweight division domestically. You've got some great fights out there. Obviously, your name's been mentioned a few times with the likes of, I'm going to ask, River Wilson Bent, Linus Udofia, Nathan Heaney recently as well. You also had Bradley Rio and Mark Heffron. If you could potentially fight one of these fighters after you get through your next fight, which one of these fighters would you pick?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm a fighting man. Whoever's next to me is next. I don't look at the domestic scene and say I want him next or him next. I'm an Irish fighter that doesn't really want to go down the domestic route. It doesn't really concern me, but if I have to fight one of them, and I will. I mean, there's a lot of them names that would be an exciting fight for me. I feel like possibly the Mark Heffron fight would be an exciting fight. I'd love to possibly get in with Nathan Heaney, as there was a bit of back and forth before on social media, but I don't think he'll ever take the fight. And a couple of the other guys are very good fighters, so no matter who it is, I feel like it'll always be a good fight. But in terms of ability and technically, I feel like I'm far better than them guys, and as long as I gain the experience in the next couple of fights, I'll be ready to fight any of them.
Yeah, and obviously, like, what's the plan after your next fight? Is it to push on for titles next? Is that your aim?
This fight was meant to be for the WBC International. I've just been told that it's not going to anymore because the WBC keep turning opponents down, or opponents keep turning the fight down. So it's a bit of a nightmare for me. I was hoping to fight for my first title, get myself in the top 15 in the world. My team's still working on trying to get a title for this fight. If not, we'll definitely be fighting for a title in my next fight. It is what it is. But yeah, I wanna be in the top 15 rankings, top 20 rankings in the world, and then start progressing, pushing on from there.
Fantastic. I want to talk a bit about the main event. Daniel Dubois is making his return from after he's lost to Joe Joyce. How excited are you to be on this card, fighting on the card, and how excited are you to see Daniel making his return from his last fight?
Yeah, I'm excited to be on this card. It's a good card. It's stacked with a lot of talent. There's also my teammate Archie Sharp fighting for the WBO global title. So it's a very good card, and I look forward to fighting on it. I'm happy to see Daniel back. Do you know what I mean? He's very young. He didn't have to take that Joyce fight. I thought like he gave a good account of himself in that fight, but Joyce just showed his experience and showed how good he was. But I'm excited to see what improvements Daniel's made and to show that he can bounce back from a loss. Yeah,
obviously Daniel's changed trainers again, going working with Shane McGuigan. How much of a plus do you think that is? Obviously working with Shane McGuigan, he's got obviously Lawrence Okolie under his stable and Chris Billion-Smith. How far do you reckon those two can go together?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it was a great move for him. Shane McGuigan's proven to be a world level coach. He's very, very good. So it was a good move for Daniel, and I feel like Daniel has the potential to be a world champion. So as long as their styles can gel together, then there's no doubt that they can be successful.
Yeah. My colleague Nando from Pound for Pound recently interviewed Tommy McCarthy on his before his cruiserweight title fight a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that his aim is one day to be the first Black Irishman to become a world champion. Is that one of your goals? Was obviously to become a black man like yourself, Irishman, to one day go on and win a world title as well?
Yeah, no, without doubt. It's funny because I was the first person to say that. So it's funny that Tommy's come out and said that. I've been saying it for time that I'm going to be the first Black Irish world champion. If Tommy gets there before me, he's well ahead of me in terms of where we are in our career. If Tommy gets there, I'll be rooting for him, and I hope he wins the world title. But I believe that I'll be the first Black Irish world champion, and that's my goal. So yeah.
Brilliant. Before I let you go, I want to ask you. Obviously, I want to give you a little. See if you can do a little message to your fans. Obviously, before you fight next week, have you got a message for your fans? Going to be tuning in to watch you fight.
Yes, definitely. Tune in BT Sport 5th of June for another explosive performance.
Brilliant. Absolute pleasure having you on, Kevin, and I wish you about the best for your next fight, and I'm sure you'll speak again soon.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Champ. Take care.
Thank you, man. Take care. Bye.